Hello, my name is Merle Stolzfus, and one of the founders and partners of the Challenger Group. And together we've created what you see the machine behind me called the Challenger. This is the model 231, and excited to show you what it does and how it does it and why it does it. And I think you'll agree that it's a unique and different way of doing something that our industry has been doing for a long time, and that is simply getting a shed from point A to point B without your truck and trailer. So with all that aside, this is the Challenger 231 machine, and what we feel like this machine does, and it does it well, is what we call touchless. And what we mean by touchless is it literally only touches the shed on the bottom of the floor joist and at the end of the skids. So you don't have, maybe you have a lot of metal sided sheds. You don't have anything touching that shed except for on the frame of the shed, which is the bottom of the skids and the ends of the floor joist. And the way it does that is with these arms right here. They are up for transport and they go down when you are going up to the shed. And obviously in this situation, we would be scooting underneath the shed. Then what you do, you have the ability to, these little mechanism right here adjust in and out, but also it is now pushing on the end of the skid, and you move this catch to where now your skid is right in here. It can't move this way. You have one on the other side that does not allow it to move the other way. So now you're pushing on the end of the skid. This keeps it from traveling left and right. This shed is now seated right here to where you can push it. You can push the shed. You can also pull it with this little wedge system here. And again, you have the same thing on this side, and this is where these are adjustable to where if you want the shed to sit out a little bit or come back a little bit farther, and then you do the same thing here. This catch moves out, and now you've got the shed securely seated with the weight of the shed holding it both in place here and those keeping it from going back into your machine. So with the machine is going on a terrain, let's say you're on the side of a hill, these forks always free float so that your machine is always staying with the terrain obviously, but then these are always seated with the building. So you've got the free floating forks, you've got the folding arms that go up and down, and then the way that you take the weight that is now, so you're underneath the shed right now, this, what we call the foot, it's a double acting mast. This foot goes against the ground. These forks go up and down while the foot is seated on the ground. So you put the foot down, you put the forks up, and then you transfer these tracks underneath the shed. And by doing that, you have now transferred the weight over top of, and you have centered the weight on top of the tracks. So that is the concept of how it does it. Now, some things that this machine is able to do, we already talked about the double acting mast, because you got the foot, and while the foot is seated, the forks can go up and down, and then the whole thing can go up and down in that manner. But also you have a forward tilt, you have a back tilt, you have a left and a right tilt, because let's say that this is now, you're on a hill, and this is, let's say, your lighter track because it's on top of the hill. You can now throw your weight, like we call it. You put this mast and you tilt it sideways, and now you've shifted your weight on top of this track, and you now have a new bite, as it were, and you can able to get more grip. So this is a four-way tilting mast, double acting mast, and the cylinder that you see right here is what pulls the load over top of center of the tracks. So at that point, you're always able to control the amount of weight that is on the front there, because you can either shift it forward or backwards, and you can have the ability to have superb traction with the tracks that we have and the ability to shift the weight. And what we found is that when you are in a situation where you run out of traction. Let's say you're on a hill, or you're on the shed is on a slope, and you want to pull that shed 90 degrees this way. So what we found is maybe one track, flat loads, or it just runs out of traction. What you can do is just simply shift your weight forward, and now you're tiptoeing, now you're clawing the dirt with just a different part of your track, and you get more traction. So that's the way that we do it. This whole thing is powered by a 22 horsepower Honda engine, and when we get to the controls of the unit, there's two ways to control it. One is with these manual levers here, and every function of the machine is right here with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levers. So for instance, these two are always your drive, front, back, and then this one here, if you can see up here, with this little switch, I can give it 3 functions. If I put this switch forward, now I'm controlling the fork. If I put it in the middle, I'm controlling the tilt. Put it in the back, now I'm controlling the tilt left to right. Same way over here, put that forward, now I'm controlling the slide, now I'm controlling the forks. So these 4 levers control the machine. What you see here is a high speed and a low speed, and then this one here is what we call centering the load from a 90-degree turn back to 0. And this machine does that mast is always pivoting, is always tilting with your load, and it actually can go it can turn more than 90 degrees. And so that really helps you in these tight situations to where you can tilt that mast swivels more than 90 degrees. But then with every machine, you're going to get one of these devices. Right now we're just putting it on a cell phone. This cell phone does not need a cellular plan because it only connects to the machine via Wi-Fi. So you're in the backwoods of Arkansas or West Virginia where there is no cell phone service, and it does not rely on cell phone service. So as long as you have battery in your device, it will connect via wireless technology with this little switch right here. You turn that on, and now you got full controls. So again, these 4 buttons correspond with these 4 levers. So this lever right here controls, or this button controls this lever, and vice versa. And then also your toggling of switches is right here. So you can toggle that forward. Now I'm controlling the foot with this lever. And if I toggle it backwards, now I'm controlling the tilt. If I uncheck both of them, now I'm controlling the forward and back tilt. And same way over here, because it has 2 functions. So if I do that, I'm now controlling the slide, and yeah, so you do all that with different functions here on the remote. So again, every machine will come with one of these devices, and so at that point it won't be an extra cost. It's just going to be a simple cost of a mobile device. And also, let's say you lose it, or let's say it gets broken or driven over, we'll just send you a new device and you'll be up and going in no time. So the Challenger is something that we are very excited about. It is something that I believe is just a different way of accomplishing the same thing. And the object is to get the shed from point A to point B, and that is simply across a person's yard with minimal impact to their environment and their landscape. And I think you'll like it, and we are excited to present to you. This is the 231 model, like I said, and it's a 10,000 pound rated machine. Our Challenger 242 is going to be a 15,000 pound machine, where that one is being developed as we speak, but we do plan to have both of those available very soon, and we're excited for you to see these new machines.